When I was in grade 10, we had a new English teacher at school. His name was Mr. Scott. He was young, charismatic, and very handsome. With his dark hair and kind brown eyes, he instantly became a favorite among the students. At just 24 years old, he seemed more like an older brother than a traditional teacher. Many of the girls in our school admired him, often finding excuses to walk past his classroom just to catch a glimpse of him. Mr. Scott, however, was always professional. He was polite and friendly, earning the respect of both his students and his colleagues. I admired Mr. Scott deeply. He had a way of making even the most complex topics seem approachable. His passion for teaching was evident, and his encouragement made us believe in our potential. Unlike some of my classmates, who joked and asked him silly questions, I was too shy to engage in such interactions. Instead, I expressed my admiration through diligence. I never missed his classes and always completed my homework on time. Sometimes, I would wear my favorite dress to his lessons, hoping he might notice me. When he called on me during class, my heart would race, and my hands would tremble. Despite my nervousness, I always tried to answer his questions thoughtfully. His words of encouragement, like "Good job, Emma," filled me with joy and a sense of accomplishment. That year, I often found myself daydreaming about Mr. Scott. My admiration for him went beyond the classroom. One day, I discovered that he lived near my neighborhood. Occasionally, I would take a longer route home just to walk past his house. If I happened to see him, he would smile and greet me warmly, which made my day. But if I saw him with friends, an inexplicable pang of jealousy would creep into my heart. When I moved up to grade 11, everything changed. Mr. Scott announced that he had accepted a new teaching position in another city. His departure left a void in my heart. I missed his presence in the hallways, his encouraging words, and the way he made learning exciting. For weeks, I found myself walking past his old house, hoping to catch a glimpse of him, but it was empty. Slowly, I began to focus on my studies, preparing for my university entrance exams. Several months later, I joined extra English classes to improve my chances of getting into a good university. On my first day, I was shocked to see Mr. Scott standing at the front of the classroom. My heart soared with happiness. He recognized me instantly and said, "Welcome back, Emma." Over the next 6 months, I worked harder than ever. Mr. Scott's guidance helped me become one of his best students. Sometimes, after class, we would stay behind and talk. He asked about my future plans, and I asked about his new job. One evening, he offered to walk me home. I was surprised but delighted. From then on, he often walked me home, and our conversations grew more personal. We talked about books, dreams, and life. For the first time, I felt like he saw me as more than just a student. Our bond deepened, and we started spending time together outside of class. We went to parks, watched movies, and shared countless stories. I still remember our first kiss. It felt like a dream come true. To me, Mr. Scott was perfect. But life had other plans. One day, he told me he had received a job offer in the United States. The opportunity was too good for him to pass up. I was heartbroken. We promised to stay in touch, writing letters to each other regularly. For a while, those letters were the highlight of my weeks. But as time passed, life became busier for both of us. The letters became less frequent until, eventually, they stopped altogether. 8 years went by. I finished university, started my career, and built a life of my own. One day, while browsing social media, I stumbled upon Mr. Scott's profile. My heart skipped a beat as I sent him a message. To my delight, he replied, and we decided to meet. The day of our reunion, I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. I dressed carefully and arrived at the cafe early. When I saw him, I was struck by how much he had changed. His once dark hair had hints of gray, and he had gained some weight. His eyes, though still kind, no longer had the same youthful sparkle. We talked for hours, reminiscing about the past and sharing stories about our lives. But as the conversation went on, I realized something had shifted. He was no longer the man I had idolized as a teenager. The feelings I once had for him were gone. After our meeting, I felt a sense of closure. I looked back on those days with fondness, cherishing the memories of my first love. But I also recognized how much I had grown and changed. Life had moved on, and so had I. A week later, Mr. Scott sent me a message. He wrote, "It was nice meeting you again. I hope we can stay friends." I replied, "Thank you, Mr. Scott. It was lovely seeing you too. I wish you all the best." And with that, our chapter together came to a quiet close. That evening, as I walked through the park near my house, it started to rain. The sound of the raindrops brought back memories of the times we had shared. I smiled to myself, thinking about how life is like the rain. Sometimes it feels cold and overwhelming, but it also nurtures growth and brings new beginnings. Mr. Scott will always hold a special place in my heart as a part of my story. But he is not the ending, just a cherished chapter. Life is full of surprises, and I've learned that the best moments often come when we least expect them. As I continue my journey, I carry those lessons with me, looking forward to the new dreams and people that life has yet to bring. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with others. Your support helps us keep creating valuable content. Thank you.